Hello and welcome to the Yarnings podcast. I'm Christine and I'll be your host. This is episode 64. I'm calling it Beachy Peachy. It is August 19th. This is a Wednesday and it is a very sunshiny day out there here in Vancouver, Washington. Yesterday, I think it got to 99. Today was slated for 95. So we aren't done with our string of hot weather. But that is your silly little sweater weather report for you. And we will get started with today's episode. Let's move into some life stories. But first, thanks for joining me. I'm glad you're here today. I have been meaning to mention how much I love the comments that I get from you guys. The comments on the episode thread, in the YouTube channel, everywhere that you guys are leaving happy comments for me. Emily from the Knitting Butterflies audio podcast has a little saying at the beginning of her episode that says her love language is quality time. And my love language is words of affection. And when you guys take the time to share something that you found helpful or made you smile from the episode, that just totally fills my love bucket. So thank you. And if this is your first time joining me, I hope you will enjoy this episode. Now let's really move into the life stories. I have been gone for much of the time since my last recording. It was my 15th wedding anniversary. We got married in 2000, so that makes it quite easy to remember how many years we've been married. And we took a little trip back to the beach. It's only a couple hours from here to our favorite beach, which is Lincoln City, but we don't go very often, so it makes it really special when we do. And we have some favorite destinations and a favorite place to stay, and it just makes for a really nice time. So you'll be hearing a little bit about some of the things I did while we were on our anniversary fun adventure throughout the show. But everything is peachy, so the episode is Beachy Peachy. Just feeling really happy and really glad to be me. Sounds silly and cheesy. It's not. It's sincere. So, with that, let's move into yarnings and knitting adventures. So last week, I showed you guys my over-the-top top, but I didn't wear it because I was on a little bit of a time crunch. I'm going to try and move backwards here so you can see more of it, but my chair is in the way. So this is my over-the-top top, and it turned out wonderful, and I got to wear it at the beach, and I have a lovely picture of it in front of the beach at Newport, Oregon. There are multiple Newports, and I wore my Magrathea on top of it, and it is also in the Bumble Birch Wellspring, so the same yarn base from the same dyer. And so it just went so nicely. I don't mind being that matchy-matchy. I really appreciate that they go together. So that was really fun, and I was glad to have gotten to wear it for its first time on a special trip. So yeah, really happy with it. I'm really happy with how it fits. It's really flattering. And the pattern is so great, and you can see how nicely the lace opened up, and it's just great. I am really happy with it. So, it's the Literally Over the Top pattern by Megan Williams in Bumble Birch Wellspring. And I talked more about the mods I made and added a little bit to my project page since then. Turn my display on over here that has my show notes. And I knit this for Actually Knitting's Pal Cal, so I need to go enter it into her thread for finished object. Okay, so the second thing that I have on my list is my Visage Again, channeling my inner Gigi from the Knitmore girls, trying to say it a little more correctly, and big congratulations to the Knitmores for their recent addition to the family. I'm excited for you guys. So this is my Viajante, and it is growing nicely. I spent a couple movies knitting on it, and it's definitely getting longer. I need to move it to a little bit bigger needle so I can see how the increase is going. If I need to decrease less frequently so that it makes it a little more wide to suit my body. But it is that long on the short end, so it's definitely growing. I haven't weighed my, let's see how much my ball is still here. And this is warm, so it's not, all right, ounces, no, 73 grams. So I've knit over half of what I originally wound up for this. So that's moving along. Again, that one's just nice and slow, and I'm enjoying it. The thing that I cast on while we were on our way to the beach is a new pair of socks. This is yarn that I bought at the Zombie Apocalypse this year. I am making a toe-up version of Susie White from the Prairie Girl Knit and Spin podcast, her zigzagular pattern. Let's see if I can do this without clunking it and holding the stitch pattern open. And it's probably not as clear with the self-striping, but that's okay. It's just a fun little addition to my socks. I was going to call these the Bitka Beach socks because of the name of the colorway was Bitka. But then once I started knitting them, I realized it's my toes in the sand. You can see I made one little stripe of tan at the end intentionally because I was curious how that would look. The extra yarn is inside of the toes, so they're a little bit extra padding right now, so that I could get it started at the same spot, and we're pretty close to the same spot still. I think my gauge just varies a little bit from sock to sock, but sand to my toes. My toes have been a shade of purple for quite a few years. I like purple toes, and this year it's this China glaze that's coming out just a little more blue than the purple is, but it is called Coconut Kiss, and on my big toes I have a beautiful sparkly glitter. So my toes in the sand is perfect. And I've knit on these a little bit since we got home. They made good bust knitting for me yesterday, so that's really fun. So that was the new work in progress. The next thing, out of the three that got knit on, the Viajante, the socks, this is the third. Soda. Let's see where we're at here. Probably could have detangled just a touch before I picked it up to show you. We're not too bad though. This is what I'm calling my hand-spun American oak. And I made a lot of progress on this week. So this is the Poison Oak pattern by Karina Spencer in some Madeline Tosh TML in Composition Book Gray, and my hand-spun Sun Valley, which is coming up with some beautiful gradation there. Kind of goes from a lighter blue to a more tealy blue to the red, and now it's back to the tealy there. And I have just separated off for the sleeves. I'm only a couple rows after that. And once I get to my underbust, then I'm going to switch, from my TML to my Prairie Lace He'll double. So then that will have kind of a corset feel for this portion, and then I'll probably finish with, at the bottom of it, finish with the composition book gray, or the TML. They're both composition book gray. And they're similar gauge, so it'll be good. It'll just have a slightly different, I think the light reflects a little differently on the prairie because of it's smaller, and so I wanted to intentionally add it in rather than trying to do it willy-nilly. I could alternate, but I think this will work better. So I am super pleased with this. You can see this line right here is where there is a slip stitch. So it's asymmetrical in the front, be over that side. Isn't this cool? So I got to sit on the porch and work on this, on the balcony, and work on this a lot, and then I've worked on it just a little bit since I got home to separate off for the sleeves, and so great. I'm just loving knitting it. Every time I pick it up, I don't want to stop knitting on that. So I haven't been. All right. My other active work in progress only got a little bit of love in the last week, and that is, this might actually not have gotten any knitting on it since you saw it last. This is my Sushi on the Go Trillion for the Sushi Quest yarn along that the Fiber and Dice podcast is doing, and I dropped my ball of yarn on the floor. So that will continue to get some work on it, even though it didn't in the last week because it didn't go with me to the beach. I thought the Viajanche should go because I'm calling it the well-traveled Viajanche. So now it's gone way all over the place. I think that's all the active knitting projects. So let's move into spinning a tail. Where did I put my... I think it's in the other room. So I was spinning on some Tussa silk last week, and I gave that just a little bit more work before I left on my trip. But not enough that I remembered to bring it in here with me. That's okay. What I did start on the trip was what I had on my list as a spinning adjacent. This is Black Trillium. It's a superwash BFL in the colorway I'm a Leaf on the Wind. Serenity Firefly fans will get the reference. So I've spun 1/3 of the fiber. It's drafting really difficultly, and then I started on that much more. It's drafting really difficultly, and so I'm having a really hard time getting it even. And I have a feeling that it's compacted because I've had it in my stash so long. It doesn't seem super compacted, but it's just not coming off the roving very smoothly and laying flat. So I'm adding a lot of extra twist to see if I add a lot of extra twist to the singles and then I add more twist than normal to in the plying process, and hopefully that will keep the little pieces of the yarn, because some of this is a pretty small staple length. Hopefully it will keep those smaller pieces of the yarn entrapped a little more. It'll be a little more hardy of a yarn, but that's my thought. I'm still such a newbie spinner. But I'm just not enjoying it as much, and so because I have spun Superwash BFL and enjoyed it, I have a feeling that it is the age of the yarn, because I got it at the second Sock Summit, so 2011. And it's just a straight BFL. It doesn't have any blend. There's no blend to it. And some of the ones that I've spun that I enjoyed more were a little more blend with a bamboo or a silk or something along those lines. So perhaps that's part of it as well. but I'm still spinning it. I'm. It's a good challenge for me to try some other things at this point in my spinning life. So I'm still working on it, and I did this much more this morning. So yeah. But then I will also be working on the Tussa Silk in between, and I'm looking at possibly starting on my big. Let's pull this out here. This is Polworth from Blue Moon in the Valenscummy colorway that I got on sale at a barn sale. And there's 8 ounces here. So this might be my next spin to see how I like Polworth. I haven't spun a lot of Polworth. I know it poops. The ends are a little bit felty, because again, this is fairly old stash too, but it's been kept in a bag. The other one wasn't. So perhaps this will spin up a little better, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of 8 ounces and figuring out how I want to divide it up before I get started. But my fiber stash is decreasing and my hand spun stash is increasing, so I guess that's the right way to do it. I just need to keep knitting with the hand spun, not just let it sit. That is spinning a tale. I want to have a new segment here. Don't know what I want to call it, but I wrote down multi-craft jewel. So the other things in my life that are crafty, that don't fit in knitting and spinning, I went through this book before I left. I haven't finished looking through it. This is All Points Patchwork by Diane Gilliland. She is a Portland author, and we have connected. We've been at several events at the same time, and I am a big fan of hers. She used to do the Crafty podcast. I'm not sure if she's still doing anything on that front, but she's written a couple books. So this is English paper piecing. You can see this is a new book. I pulled it off of, no, I requested it. And English paper piecing is you cut out shapes of paper, and then you baste around the paper, and then that edge is what you seam along to piece it together. And when you're done, you take out, either pop out the paper, or you take out the basting stitches and pop out the paper, and then you're left with a very nice pointed patchwork piece. It just seems like something really cool to make some really small, happy things and enjoy some sewing without having a sewing machine. I know I want a sewing machine. I just haven't figured out how complex of a sewing machine I want to get. So this might be a good intermediate thing. I'm thinking about going and getting a couple fat quarters and just playing with making something small. Maybe something for my wall. I don't know. But it would be a good way to start, and I really enjoyed looking through this book. So, All Points Patchwork by Diane Gilliland. See if your library has it. I also have a cross-stitch project that's been waiting for me. So at some point, I'm going to get to those projects, and it will be really fun. Okie dokie. Knitting community. I opened the Conversation Knits thread that's been there for a week or so, and people have been posting what they are knitting for the Convocal this time. I started a thread for the Very Colorful Yarnings. We have 2 skeins of this awesome self-striping, and the prompt is in the thread. The contest is going through August 29th, so go and get your entry in, and you could win these 2 skeins self-striping. What did you want to do? You could make some amazing knee socks and still have yarn left over. So I want to hear what you guys want to do, what you would do with 2 skeins. Or some matching stuff. I saw some great threads with things that people might make that are matching. So go and get inspired too. Finally, for knitting community, my stash totals were what I ended up with, was what I told you guys last time. So my final count was 5,111 meters, which is 5,589 yards. And that was 9 knitting projects and 5 hand spun. So I'm really pleased with that. That was really great. I didn't go put my content in the thread. It all happened while I was on vacation, and I didn't get that part of it done. So I just am going to make up a little graphic and put my little grid of what I finished in Instagram and be proud of that. So that was a fun challenge for me, right on the heels of Tour de Fleece. These challenges have been good, and I am excited to keep working on other knit-alongs. I know that there's more that will be coming up that I'm excited about. I am behind quite a bit on podcasts right now, so I'm sure that there are some wonderful ones going on as soon as I get caught up with the episodes that talk about it. All right, that should be all the crafting segments. How about some sagas of geekery? Because I am geeky. And you should do things that make your heart happy. Okay, so now playing. While we were on our trip, we brought some board games with us. We brought our set of small games that I had gotten to bring on my trip and Eric's trip, and then we brought some bigger games. We knew that we were having a room that had a bar type counter space because we had a small kitchen, and so we ended up bringing a bigger game because we thought we would have more room than we have currently downstairs, where we have sold our tables, and we are using one of my small craft tables and a folding table right now. Not enough space for the bigger games. So we brought Caverna, and we played Caverna. And that is huge and epic and has tons and tons of little pieces and boards and everything that have to be all set out together. So we had just barely enough space for what we were doing, but it worked out really good. So that was great to be able to get a gameplay of Caverna in, even though we don't have the space right now at home. That one is on my 10 by 10 list, and I know I'm not going to get 10 plays of it in. It would take an awful lot to get the rest of my 10 plays in before the end of 2015. Maybe I could. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I had to see where I was at in my decreases. Sorry for counting. I hope I didn't mess anybody up. So we also played Castles of Burgundy. That one is another fun one, and since we were bringing all of the bowls, we have little prep bowls that we use for pieces. We had to bring all of those for Caverna, so we figured we might as well bring Castles. That's one of my very, very favorite games. We also played Harbor, which is one of the small ones. And then on our way back, we stopped at Guardian because it was game day, and we wanted to see if they had my new Legendary expansion. They didn't. But we played Carnival, which I had picked up and wanted to play. It was the same game publishing company that did the Great Heartland hauling company, the shipping one. And so it had looked really good, but it wasn't my kind of game. There was a lot of mess with the other players, and I am more about the building than the messing up the other people. So it just wasn't mine, but it was nicely done. They did not have Legendary, so I ended up ordering it on Amazon, and it is here now. We haven't opened it up yet. My new sets of sleeves are on their way, but they won't be here till Thursday, so we may just have to play without sleeves. I don't know how that's going to work, but we will see. We're going to look at it tonight after dinner. Yay! So that's now playing. Now watching, we are continuing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't watch any Stargate this week, but I did start on West Wing. My friend Raina had introduced that to me. I'd seen a couple episodes when it was first on, but not enough to remember what was going on. So I just started on that this week as a little recovery day after my trip plan, and that's awfully fun. I'm enjoying that. While we were at the beach, we brought our X-Men movies, not thinking, oh yeah, we got Blu-rays. Of course, the hotel has DVD players. So we borrowed the Thomas Crown Affair, the Pierce Brosnan version, from the hotel. They had a little library. They liked some of the actors that I am not so fond of, and so the collection was a little skewed. But we did watch the Thomas Crown Affair, which we used to own, but we owned that on VHS, and all our VHSs are gone now because we don't have a VCR. So that one's not safe for kids, but it's a good movie. And we went and found a Redbox and rented Edge of Tomorrow. The Live, Die, Repeat is what the cover is saying now. Tom Cruise in a repeating day format. And I am a fan of those kind of repeating day things, like Stargate's a window of opportunity, or Groundhog Day. So that was good. And so those are the things that we are watching right now. For now, reading. I'm still making my way through the Uncanny X-Men complete collection by Matt Fraction. So this is one of the bigger ones. It's 500. I think it's 500 to 530. So it's 30 issues. Let's see if I can see the last cover page here that tells me how many. I think I'm about halfway through. Cover pages are not very... There we go. 509. Oh, I was wrong. 500 to 510. So, there are 10. And my Chowgu needle sizer is actually my bookmark at the moment because I need to find my other one. So I read through 505. So I'm continuing in on this, and I'm enjoying that. I picked up the new Ms. Marvel, well, the newest one the library had. So the third collection, that one was waiting for me at the library. So I have that in my pile. I have a fairly nice pile of library ones that I am looking forward to reading and just haven't had a chance yet. Okay, what else have I been reading? We're listening to Snuff by Terry Pratchett as an audiobook. That's awfully good, as always with Terry Pratchett. Scroll. Huh. Thought that I started to put these in here, but I don't see them. So I need to add that to the show notes. So you guys have seen my Funko Pops. This is Willow, and this is Kaylee. And they have been sitting on my desk here. Now they'll sit on my scale for a moment. While I was at the beach, I walked into the Hot Topics at the outlet mall. Yes, I'm a little old for that. No, I'm not really a little old for that. They had Agent Carter. She is a bobblehead, and Willow and Kaylee are not, but I think that's totally okay. If you can see, she's holding the little sphere that is the vial that held Cap's blood. Let's make her stop bobbling. I guess not. She has adorable shoes. I was totally going to pre-order her, and I hadn't had a chance yet. So I was really excited to see her on the shelf, because she wasn't actually out yet on Amazon. So then I had to get her a friend as well. This is Lady Sif from the Thor movies, but she's also been on 2 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes, and I loved how they portrayed her on there. She was really fun and badass, and look at the detail on her armor. Isn't that cool? So, I have doubled my collection. And when I took out Peggy, I realized she had a stand. And so then I went back into the boxes. You can see the boxes up there on my shelf. I went back to the boxes for Willow and Kaylee, and sure enough, they had little stands too. So I need to make them a spot. I'm thinking maybe a little shelf on the wall that you guys can't see over here, but somewhere that they can sit, because they're going to get friends. There are other ones that I have my eyes on. I want the Avengers 2 version of Black Widow. These are all Whedon adjacent. So these two are most definitely Whedon. And these two have been on things that the Whedons are involved in. So I am a Whedon geek. You guys know that. And that makes me happy. So maybe for now, they should sit on my handspun shelf, and they will be happy in the handspun. There you go, baby Sif. Don't fall down. There you go. So that was one of my silly purchases. What else did I get? I got underwear. We went to the kitchen store, got a new cookie scoop. Just fun stuff like that. Okie dokie. So that was Sagas of Geekery. Let's move into Book of Cooking. So for Book of Cooking, I think that was all. We ate out part of the time while we were on our trip, but we had a small kitchen, and so we were able to cook some. So we ate out the Tillamook Cheese Factory, an Irish pub, breakfast place, and then we had a couple meals that were just crackers, cheese, fruit, that kind of stuff. And then we made one big, exciting meal, which was pumpkin raviolis, sauteed peppers, and then the peppers and the ravioli were in an herbed butter. With big giant salads with Olive Garden salad dressing on it, and bread. Harriet David's outlet had bread that you could bake. Came in these shrink-wrapped things, and then you baked it for 8 to 10 minutes, and that finished it up. And a coffee cake. So that was really fun to have that opportunity to be able to cook together. We enjoyed getting to go pick out the things together, and that made for a fun anniversary dinner. So that, besides that, we haven't cooked a lot at home. We've only been at home a few bits of time in between there and now, but that was the fun we did while we were gone. For fanciful chatter, I was noticing that I had a purple eyeliner that was not out in general rotation. So I have this Urban Decay palette. This is one of the Oz. This is the Glinda palette. And it looks like that. And I am wearing several of the colors today. And so Rockstar was in there. And I already had Voodoo, which I'd gotten free for my birthday, and Crash, which I've had for years. So I have 3 purple eyeliners, and purple is my favorite eye color because it makes my eyes look more green. You guys really don't get that. It just isn't, it's not coming out very green on your screen, but I have green eyes. So that was fun to find the other purple eyeliner. I brought with me on my trip a whole bunch of my Perfectly Posh stuff to try out because I had just gotten a bunch of different things to test. And probably my very favorite that Eric also liked was Amazing Big Fat Yummy Hand Cream. It is fresh mint and wild honey, so it's very light. It's just got, it kind of smells like mint tea with a little honey added to it. So it's got just a really nice lightness and just a really good consistency of hand cream. So I enjoyed that one among the many things. I should probably put the picture of, I think I captioned it, the amount of Posh I brought was directly proportional to how much relaxing and pampering I wanted out of my trip. So that was awfully fun. So if you are interested in any of the Posh stuff I've been talking about, Perfectly Posh, I'll put my link to my site in the show notes. And I'm just enjoying using it. But if any of you are interested in it, that'd be just gravy on top of it. And you're welcome to buy through me. So the happiness continues. I am super happy to have gotten to celebrate my anniversary. That was really a great trip and definitely had some good things to keep my marriage strong. Just getting to spend that time together was really good. I reposted a quote this week about being pro selfie and how it's not something. Maybe I should actually pull it up because I'll read it to you. There are so many bigger problems in the world than people who think they're pretty. One of those problems is girls who don't think they are pretty. So take a selfie. The more that I take pictures of myself, the more I'm able to identify the things that I appreciate about how I look. And it's a way that I can document my life and share my smile with other people. And my smile doesn't always mean the same thing every time. But I do love to smile. So take a selfie. Hashtag. And one of my favorite things during the trip was getting up early in the morning and getting to sit out on the balcony in the chilly morning air, just letting the coolness sweep over me after we've had so much warmth here, and knitting. It was just pure bliss to just sit there, listen to the ocean, listen to the noises of all the people, but there weren't that many at that time in the morning, and sit there and knit. It was just divine. And finally, from yoga this week, my teacher read a poem, and my favorite part of it was about being willing to be dazzled. Are you open to being dazzled by everyday things? The things that you do on a normal Wednesday, can you find something that dazzles you? So that can be your takeaway for the week. Look for things that dazzle you. And I hope your day is very beachy peachy too. All right, guys. I guess that'll do us for today. Thanks for putting up with all my giggliness all the time. So you can find me around the internet. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. Ooh, I just shook you. Sorry. I was balancing. I am Christine with a K on Ravelry. I'm Katie LB, just the letters, on Instagram. You can find the Yarnings podcast group on Ravelry and the show notes with links to everything that I talk about at yarningspodcast.com. So until next time, that's the story. Bye.